Now it's time for some Geek-e-cation.
In today's Geek-e-cation, we're going to do a little sewing and make some masks. Nice mask.
Today I thought we'd go through some simple 1, 2, 3s of sewing. The project I picked is to sew some new face masks since we still have several months of wearing them. Just like picking out t-shirts that we identify with, we've done the same with masks. The first step is to create or find a pattern of what you're making. We've listed some that we've used in the links down below. You've seen me use a lot of simplicity patterns for our Mando kit, and I've also created a few of my own patterns. But for these masks, there are countless out on the internets that you can find. Both Brian and I wear glasses, so for the last year, we've been trying to find the right mask to wear that won't fog up our glasses while we're grocery shopping. The one I'm going to use today is on AON Easy DIY on YouTube. It's a butterfly style 3-layer face mask, and a link to the full tutorial is listed in our notes. I'll be drawing up the pattern from the dimensions shown in this tutorial. Interestingly, in the video, the lady uses dinner plates to draw some of the circular elements. But none of my plates are the right size, so I'll draw up that circle as well. Holy saber! Look at what I dug up to create this large circle. Back in the day, I used this for hand drafting assignments. Selecting the right fabrics for masks are outlined on the CDC's website. It's important to think through the fabric you choose for any project. For instance, you don't want to use taffeta for a Mandalorian costume. Taffeta, darling, it wrinkles. I've learned the very hard way that thread is so important for your sewing project. I tend to use all-purpose because it is just that. The thread aisle at my store actually has a really good display that has charts that you can refer to so you select the right ones. Similarly, your sewing needles are also specific to the type of fabric you are sewing. Thankfully, the packages tell you what needle you can use with what types of fabric. And they're color-coded for you since the engraving on the needles is pretty much the size of a tick. You'll notice I'm making several different masks. We need options, right? Just like my patterned socks. I want variety. Geek chic, right? The first masks that I made had ties, but we realized those were kind of cumbersome, and I always got my hair caught in them. The mask with the elastic ear loops with the little rubber adjusties work nice because none of us have the same head size or ear size, right? The flat elastic is easier to sew into the mask, and some little details, like thinking ahead on that, can be a lifesaver. With most sewing patterns, you sew the item or the garment inside out, so there has to be a way to turn it right side in, right side out when you're finished. For these masks, it's a spot on the bottom of the mask, about 2 inches in length. And you have to remember, you have to place the ear loops before sewing and keeping in mind how it will flip, because that is critical to have a nice finished look. Each machine varies a little on how to thread the bobbin and how to thread the machine. Singer has how-to videos in addition to visuals on the machine itself to help you. And of course, if you watch tutorials, you can find out how to thread your specific machine. The two that I've owned have a 1, 2, 3 marking next to each threading guide on the machine itself. So here you're watching me manually thread the needle, which for this machine I really don't have to do because there's an automatic needle threader. However, I'm old school, but maybe I'll use it when my eyes start to get worse as I get older. Something that I find absolutely invaluable is having the instruction manual for your machine. These days, you can easily find them on the manufacturer's website. The manual will have instructions not only on the machine's capabilities, but also tips for thread tension, stitch widths and lengths, sewing buttonholes, and the like. Usually there is a needle, fabric, and thread chart. So the manuals are a wealth of information. And then of course there's YouTube. For this mask design, from following the instructions on Aeon Easy DIY, you will essentially sew a nose and a chin flap. These are the elements that are supposed to help with glasses fogging.
We know that wearing masks are totally uncomfortable, and we can't wait until the day where we don't have to. But hopefully with this Geek-e-cation, you've learned a little bit more sewing, and you can make your own custom mask. And if nothing else, you learned some sewing tips that you can use in your other cosplay projects. And we'll see you next week. You didn't have anything?